Alright. Full props to the whatever union I'm in, because I get today off, Monday, Easter Monday. Because he is arisen. So yes, the first 2 days of this long weekend, I worked very hard at doing nothing. Playing video games, eating, and being in a cocoon called my apartment that I really barely afford and get so rarely to actually enjoy. So yeah, that was nice. But then, yeah, I had stuff to do. And today is no exception. So I have to go. I don't have to. I was planning to do it in the other vehicle that I have access to for this, but it isn't raining, so I got kind of excited and wanted to try to get this done before the clouds fill in again. And as you see, I had a very short sunshine moment leaving my place, and now it's going to sock in and be a pretty cloudy, gloomy ride, but that's fine. Good day for the sermon from the saddle. Get my signal going. Yes, sermon from the saddle. Totally on the fly. I have no notes and I have no Bible on board. So I can't even look it up if I'm wrong. Alright, we'll be right back. Okay, we are flying down Grace Road. It's actually a nice ride, even though this is the industrial area, just sort of west of the Patello Bridge. So I have read in the last couple months, as you may know if you are one of my 3 subscribers, I have been reading from Judges, and now I'm just into the book of Ezra. I really enjoyed, not Ezra, I'm in the book of Esther. Yes, started the book of Esther because I read Ezra and Nehemiah, and I really got a lot more out of Ezra and Nehemiah now that I'm older. I'm getting the unhappy face. How dare you tell me to slow down on a Monday holiday day? Okay. So Ezra and Nehemiah ended up being contemporaries. Nehemiah followed. He was a eunuch under the direction, I think, of King Cyrus, maybe? Or possibly the king after Cyrus. But I do know that Ezra was appointed to reconstruct the temple that was crushed by the Chaldeans. They crushed the temple that I just read about in the scroll of Samuel and the books of Kings, where Solomon actually has to complete King David's work. King David had planned to do it, but he basically ended up murdering a guy for a woman. And he went to war a lot, and, you know, he won a lot of wars, so skirmishes. So the Lord told David, hey man, like, you got too much blood on your hands, really, to be building my house. So he got Solomon to do it, essentially. But the whole process of going through the book of Judges and realizing that, you know, they wanted a king, and the whole issue of every time their leadership would change or pass away, these people would immediately start to fall back, what we call backsliding into worshiping the other gods and doing all the stuff that they aren't supposed to be doing. So very interesting, this process. And I think it kind of plays out again in a different way with the whole kings. So the whole rise and fall of Saul and then David pretty much is very similar to the cyclical process of having a judge. You know, Deborah, Gideon, Samson, all those people. So that whole process of having a judge, they do okay because they kind of fear the judge and respect the judge's authority and whatnot. And the judge knows the laws in the book of Moses and the Torah and all that. So, yeah. And what highlights for me, I mean, I realize it's the day Jesus rose from the grave and the angel of the Lord just pushed that big rock out of the way and just sat there and told Mary Magdalene that, look, he's not here. But you can tell his disciples where to meet him. And a lot of, like, hundreds and hundreds of people saw Jesus over a time period. I think at like a month or something, 40 days. I don't know how long it was. I'd have to look it up. But again, there was a significant time where he was seen by all kinds of people, not just his followers. So, but the whole reason we need a savior is hammered into your head if you read through the books I've just read through. Because they just couldn't do it. They just couldn't make it stick. They could not repent for a continuous number of, generations. They get one king going good, and then the next king would screw it all up. So this is the entire reason that, Matthew presented the Messiah to the Jews. Like, guys, this is the one you've been waiting for. And that's sort of the gist of the whole book of Matthew. Is he was a good legalistic mind, and he presented it to the legal eagles, the Pharisees and all those people. Okay, we're going to take a short break in the sermon, and I'm actually in the hoopla here a little bit with a bit of traffic, so higher speed, 70k. So just going to get the fight going good. Woo! I may run out of gas on this run, so we might actually have to pull over on this little Sportster. What do you know? I should be able to get over the bridge with what I got in the tank. Alright, be right back. Okay, I can turn the camera back on now that I'm doing the speed limit in the corner. Yikes, pretty sporty. People are booking it. It's probably 9 o'clock, close to 9 now, 8:30ish. The trouble with giving a guy like me a 4-day weekend is got the camera going and everything. The trouble with a long weekend for me is I get a taste of how relaxed I would be if I could just retire and not lose my home somehow. Like some magical thing happens. Because I'm a pretty busy dude when I don't have anything to do. Like I have the laptop and I have so many hobbies related to coding. Wow. Okay, we're getting into top gear, baby. We're just gonna stay calm, not let anybody bully me. Don't bully me, man. Just because I'm on a little bike, don't bully me. My voice went up there a little too much. Don't bully me. Yo, Mr. T. Alright. I know, don't give up my day job. I'm not an actor. This is not a professional on a professionally closed course. This is real life. On a really beat up Harley. And she's giving her. So yes, welcome to the sermon from the saddle, where your lowly field minister is a little bit scared because, it's chilly out, and what if I go down? beautifully calm water, though. That's what I keep looking at. Because I really am a sailor. And I have spent a lot of time in the last little while dreaming about being back on a sailboat. But again, I don't want to give up my cushy apartment for that. And generally, I can't afford anything, really, unless I ditch my apartment or rent it out. So, yeah. Oh, okay. Probably can get down into third here. Yeah. Give got a little brake check. Third's pretty good here, just to scoot through. Kind of drop it like it's hot. Fourth. Oh! That guy was good in the Toyota there. Gave me a little space. That was really nice. I wasn't all scared there. Good. Just gonna roll up. Oh, baby, go, 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 go! Ooh, that scared me. Ooh, loud noise. Other than my Harley, that sucked. I'm okay. Ripping up Canada Way. Tiny bit of sun trying to rip through the clouds. Third gear uphill, baby. Trying to keep my act together. Hello. Yes. So the book of Esther is really interesting, how Mordecai and Esther end up sort of influenced, has to be influenced by the power of God to do what they did. Esther somehow gets positioned. She's in Babylon, so they're under Xerxes. Ahasuerus is another name that he went by, an alias, I guess, through different languages. But it's Xerxes I, I believe, is the king that they were held captivity and they were made servants. But because she was so young, Esther is treated like a Persian in Persia, because she's probably dressing as a youngster, whereas Mordecai was too Jewish in his mannerisms and dress and his education to really hide that he was Jewish. So technically I think she was his young cousin. Like his uncle died and left her in his care. So Mordecai ends up telling her, look, don't let on that you are Jewish. You know, like just keep it on the DL. And just call me your teacher rather than us being related. So that went on for quite a while, and they kind of lived happily that way as Mordecai, you know, kind of got, I don't know, he basically went up through the ranks and he ended up serving the king in a minor fashion such that he was known, probably just because he was, you know, knowledgeable with all the Jews in that area in terms of what they were dealing with. So the king, he was kind of an advisor almost to the king already. But there's this evil guy named Haman who ends up really resenting Mordecai and the Jews, and he ends up trying to convince the king to produce an edict or a rule that all the Jews will be slaughtered and whatnot. So it's quite a book, not very long. You can get through it pretty quick. I highly recommend. I'm trying not to spoil it for you, but it's pretty notable that God isn't actually mentioned in the book of Esther, but you can see him working through every step of Esther's life. And her name's not really Esther. That's her code name. So she had another name before she became Esther. And that's just what I think Mordecai told her to call herself. So it's pretty incredible. Cloak and dagger. Absolute cloak and dagger kind of work that these people did to save the Israelites from this decree. I will tell you, full disclosure, there is a film called The Book of Esther, which is pretty good, but they deviate from the actual written account. In the written account, instead of removing the decree to kill all the Israelites, the king Xerxes, in his infinite wisdom, issues a corollary decree, another decree that allowed the Jews to defend themselves if any bully attacked them. And the moral of the story is that the Jews ended up slaughtering anybody who tried to put them down. And thus, Mordecai ends up having a switch of fate. So Haman ends up building a gallows to hang Mordecai on, and the king, in all this sort of hoopla and events, because at some point Mordecai discovers a plot against the king, and he shares it privately with the king and gets favor in the eyes of the king. And of course, Mordecai's stupidity is sort of coming out to the forefront. And the king ultimately gives all of Mordecai's wealth and household to Mordecai, and Haman ends up getting hung on the very gallows he built for Mordecai. So how godly is that? Like, these ironic twists can only be achieved by God. Like, where else would basically a slave girl like Esther, who's living in a area where, her people are oppressed and are essentially servants to the Persians, and yet Xerxes had the wisdom to essentially exalt Mordecai and marry Esther and keep her as his wife even after he found out she was a Jew. So full credit, full props to Xerxes and even Cyrus. See, this is what I'm learning from the Bible, is that if it weren't for a couple of decent Persian kings, that, okay, let's not be trite about it. I mean, they would have conquered, there would have been a war, right? So people would have died. So they're not exactly super nice people, but once they had the Jewish nation under their thumb, they actually did a few good things, like letting them continue to preach and letting them continue with their religion and their studies, and letting them have a life outside of their own slavery. So, like, Esther was able to be educated to the point where men were putty in her hands, kind of thing. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that happened there that it wouldn't have happened under an unwise king. So, I don't know. It's a weird thing for me. I never sort of thought of that area of the Bible where, how is it that God uses an enemy nation to do something good for the Israelites? Like, how is it that God is able to do that? He used Xerxes, it seems, to help Esther. Like, how is it that he chose her among all the women? that were brought to him and prepared for like months. It's an incredible little story. And again, I find it odd that I'm going to actually slow down because those lights mean something. There we go. I'm not going to get caught on this traffic light today. Nice. But I highly recommend doing what I did, where you just take huge chunks of the Bible and you hammer through it. This has been really beneficial because there's a whole cyclical theme. There's a repeating pattern in the Bible of us as mankind totally blowing it over and over again. We do good for a while and then we slide back. And it's really telling, it's really glaringly obvious to somebody who, I go to church now, but for a lot of my life, I've studied the Bible in isolation. So I'm pretty raw. I'm pretty raw about everything because the Bible describes a very persecuted church. And another red light up ahead, even though I got all excited and got her into fourth. So I dropped off my timesheets and finally met the gal that's doing our bookkeeping and accounting now. Poor thing has to work today. She's not actually technically a member. As office staff, I was told she's not a member of our union. So that sucks. But it was nice to meet the person that could actually help me make more money by being accurate, which is good. Honest, I didn't really want to do this ride because I like hibernating when I'm not at work. I take huge risks at my job, so basically a tough gig. There we go. Yeah, tough job. So I don't feel guilty when I take the odd full day or 2 days off. Those first 2 days, the Friday, Saturday, were really good for me. Just to get my mind off all the things I worry about. I basically played video games for 2 days straight. I watched a couple cool NASCAR races as well. But the 2 video games I'm spending time on recently, and those 2 days, are old GameCube games. I have a GameCube emulator that I play these games on. They're free. You can download them. They're so old, but they're good. So mid-2000s, these are decent games. And I never was a NASCAR fan until I kind of played these games and got better at them and started winning a few races and really enjoying the career mode. And the thing, I know people will laugh at me. I'm 55, soon to get a little older. People will give me a hard time because I'm playing video games, but they need to remember that anybody my age is a Generation X person. Baby boomers are a little older than me. So my generation are the actual generation that invented real video games, like arcades and stuff like that. Happened when I was a child and teenager. And computers were suddenly useful back in the late 80s and early 90s. So we had all kinds of game consoles come out. So to go into game theory, which I've studied a little of, and go into the psychology of gaming and realize that it engages your mind. There's a lot of problem solving. It's perfect for a guy like me who's actually looking at improving my brain elasticity so that I don't get Alzheimer's and I don't get, other afflictions that really affect guys in my age group going forward into my 60s. If I make it that far, that is. I mean, I take it, I don't get too uppity. I try to take things one day at a time. Part of what I learned when I sobered up from alcohol 20 years ago is that you have to really focus on what you can do for 24 hours to make your life better and make decisions today that will have you not hitting that little bird, for example. So if I was riding a little faster, I might have hit that bird and killed the bird on my way home. But I made the decision to leave more space between me and that car, and the little bird lived. I know, weird, right? An example right in front of me. Yeah, just change lanes by the power of the wavy hand. I'm about to go through the most bumpy area that I have to contend with. I do this often. But this needs to be repaired, guys. I gotta brake check the dude behind me. Good. Picking up some speed. Look at those clouds. Oh my goodness. And I'm in a little ray of sunshine. Don't burst my bubble. Don't burst my bubble. I'm just in the sun. What rain clouds? There are no rain clouds. Are you kidding me? Woo, she's hot. My bike is hot, yo. Quick for this corner. Yeah, there you go. I really am Canadian. I'm riding in a flannel shirt in 6 degrees Celsius and thinking it's just fine. Holy Dinah. Like, yeah, seriously, dude. I'm not even wearing a jacket. I'm wearing a vest over 2 thermal layers and a flannel shirt. Mid-weight flannel. Look at this guy. Don't do it. Don't. Just don't, man. Just don't. Okay, we're doing the dreaded Snake Hill, but there's no rush because I can't get around that truck. I mean, I'd have to really kick the shit out of the bike. Well, maybe. We'll find out. Thunder seems to be doing this with a tiny bit of authority and squeaking through the yellow light. Just like that. By what authority do you ride this motorcycle? I ride this motorcycle by the Lord's authority. By my Father in heaven. He's the one that inwardly impels me to ride this death trap. And if it's okay for the Lord, it is okay for me. Okay, almost home. I decided I'm going to go home first and then see if I actually need to get groceries. A little cold there, I could shake the hands out.